Have you ever opened your refrigerator, pulled out yesterday's leftovers and thought, it's already cooked, so all I have to do is heat it up? If so, you're not alone. Every single day, billions of people around the world reheat leftover meals without giving it a second thought. It's quick, convenient, and seems completely harmless. But what if one of the most common habits in your kitchen isn't as simple as you've always believed? What if the biggest question isn't whether your food is hot enough, but what happened to it before you reheated it? The answer may surprise you. Stay with me until the end, because the fourth food on today's list is one that millions of health-conscious people eat every week, believing it's one of the healthiest choices they can make. Yet when it's stored or reheated the wrong way, its quality and safety may not be what you expect. Before we begin, I'd love to know a little about you. Tell me your name and your age in the comments below, and let me know where you're watching from. I read as many comments as I can, and it's always fascinating to see people from all over the world coming together to learn how to live healthier lives. My name is Dr. Paul. For more than 15 years, I've studied nutrition, food chemistry, and preventive health. Throughout my career, I've learned that staying healthy isn't just about eating more vegetables or exercising a few times a week. Sometimes it's the small habits we repeat every single day. Habits that seem completely harmless, that can make the biggest difference over time. Today's video isn't about creating fear or telling you to throw away every leftover meal in your refrigerator. It's about understanding what science actually tells us about storing and reheating food so you can make informed decisions for yourself and your family. One thing I want to make clear from the beginning is this. There is no single food that causes cancer, and there is no single food that guarantees perfect health. Cancer is a complex disease influenced by many factors, including genetics, smoking, alcohol, physical activity, body weight, environmental exposures, infections, and overall dietary habits. But researchers have discovered that the way food is cooked, stored, and reheated can influence its nutritional quality, food safety, and the formation of certain compounds. That doesn't mean leftovers are dangerous. It means understanding how to handle them properly is just as important as choosing healthy foods in the first place. To understand why, let's take a quick look at what happens after food is cooked. The first time you cook a meal, heat changes proteins and starches and fats in ways that make food easier to digest and more enjoyable to eat. But once that food cools and sits in the refrigerator, slow chemical changes continue to take place. Oxygen interacts with fats, moisture affects texture, and if food isn't cooled or stored properly, bacteria can begin to multiply. When leftovers are heated again, those changes continue. In some foods, repeated exposure to very high temperatures may increase oxidation or reduce nutritional quality. In others, the biggest concern isn't reheating at all. It's how the food was stored before it was reheated. So today we're going to explore 4 everyday foods that many of us keep in the refrigerator and warm up later. Some of what you'll hear may confirm what you already know. Some of it may completely change the way you think about leftovers. But my goal isn't to scare you. My goal is to help you separate fact from myth so you can protect your health without giving up the foods you love. The first food on today's list is one that feeds more people than almost any other food on Earth. Rice. Whether you live in Asia, Europe, Africa, or the Americas, there's a good chance rice is a regular part of your meals. It's affordable, filling, and incredibly versatile. Many families cook a large pot of rice, store the leftovers, and simply reheat them the next day. It seems like the perfect solution for busy schedules. But here's something many people don't realize. The biggest concern isn't usually the reheating itself. It's what happens to the rice between the first meal and the second. Raw rice naturally contains spores of a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. These spores can survive normal cooking because they're highly resistant to heat. If cooked rice is left sitting at room temperature for too long before it's refrigerated, those spores can become active, multiply, and produce toxins. The surprising part is that while reheating may destroy the bacteria, it may not destroy toxins that have already formed. That's why food safety experts consistently recommend cooling cooked rice quickly and refrigerating it as soon as possible, instead of leaving it on the kitchen counter for hours. There's another reason researchers encourage proper handling of rice. Every time a starchy food is exposed to very high heat, especially if it's repeatedly browned or overcooked, certain chemical reactions can occur that may reduce its quality and, in some cases, increase compounds that scientists continue to study. The important message isn't to avoid rice. rice remains a healthy staple food, enjoyed safely by billions of people every day. The lesson is simple. Cook what you need, cool leftovers promptly, store them correctly, and avoid reheating the same batch over and over again. Small habits like these can make a meaningful difference in food safety. Think about your own routine for a moment. Have you ever cooked a large pot of rice on Sunday and continued reheating it throughout the week? Most people have. It's convenient, saves time, and helps reduce food waste. But convenience should never replace good food handling habits. A few extra minutes spent storing food properly today can help prevent problems tomorrow. Now let's move to the second food, and this one surprises almost everyone because it's considered one of the healthiest protein sources you can eat: chicken. Walk into almost any gym, ask any nutrition coach, or look inside the meal prep containers of people trying to lose weight or build muscle, and you'll probably find cooked chicken. It's high in protein, relatively low in fat, and an excellent part of a balanced diet. But what happens when that same chicken is heated again and again? When meat is cooked at very high temperatures, especially when it's grilled, charred, or repeatedly browned, scientists know that compounds called heterocyclic amines, or HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, can form. These compounds have been studied for many years because laboratory research suggests they can damage DNA under certain conditions. However, it's important to keep this in perspective. This doesn't mean reheated chicken automatically becomes dangerous or causes cancer. The overall amount depends on how the chicken was originally cooked, how it is reheated, and how often heavily browned or charred meats are eaten as part of the overall diet. This is why I always tell my patients not to panic, but to be mindful. Instead of blasting leftover chicken in the microwave until it's sizzling hot or frying it a second time in a pan, try reheating it gently. Better yet, use leftover chicken in salads, sandwiches, wraps, or grain bowls where it doesn't need intense reheating at all. You'll preserve more of its texture, enjoy better flavour, and reduce unnecessary exposure to high heat. Healthy eating isn't about perfection. It's about making smarter choices consistently, and we're only getting started. The next food is one that almost every health expert recommends because it's packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Yet there is one important detail about storing and reheating it that many people have never heard before. That's coming up next. The third food is probably the biggest surprise in today's video because it's something almost every doctor, nutritionist, and health expert encourages you to eat more often: spinach. Along with leafy greens like Swiss chard, beet greens, celery, and lettuce, spinach is loaded with nutrients your body needs. It's rich in vitamins A, C, and K, contains iron, magnesium, folate, and powerful antioxidants, and naturally provides nitrates that can support healthy blood flow and cardiovascular health. In other words, spinach deserves its reputation as one of the healthiest foods you can put on your plate. But here's where many people get confused. You've probably heard someone say, "Never reheat spinach because it becomes poisonous." That statement isn't entirely accurate. The real story is more complicated, and it's worth understanding because the science is fascinating. When spinach is cooked and then stored in the refrigerator, natural chemical changes can continue to occur over time. Researchers have studied how naturally occurring nitrates can, under certain conditions, be converted into nitrites. And in specific environments, nitrites may contribute to the formation of compounds called nitrosamines. Some nitrosamines have been classified as carcinogenic, but the amount that forms depends on several factors, including storage conditions, temperature, cooking methods, and the rest of the meal. This is why scientists emphasize proper food storage rather than telling people to avoid spinach altogether. Freshly cooked spinach remains an excellent choice, and if you prepare leftovers, refrigerate them promptly and consume them within a reasonable period instead of leaving them sitting out for hours. The goal isn't to fear healthy vegetables, it's to handle them wisely. Now let's move to the fourth and final food, and I promise this one would surprise you. Eggs have been called one of nature's most complete foods for good reason. They contain high-quality protein, all 9 essential amino acids, choline for brain health, selenium for antioxidant protection, and nutrients like lutein and zeaxanthin that help support healthy vision. Whether you enjoy them scrambled, boiled, poached, or as an omelette, eggs can absolutely be part of a healthy diet. But what happens when they're cooked refrigerated, and then reheated again. Like many foods that contain fats, eggs naturally undergo oxidation during cooking. If they're repeatedly exposed to very high temperatures, oxidation products may increase, particularly in the yolk. Scientists continue to study these changes to better understand their effects on long-term health. But one thing is clear: repeatedly overheating foods rarely improves their nutritional quality. That's one reason freshly prepared eggs usually taste better, have a better texture, and preserve more of their natural characteristics than eggs that have been reheated multiple times. So does this mean you should never eat leftover eggs? Not at all. Hard-boiled eggs stored safely in the refrigerator can make an excellent cold snack or addition to a salad. If you need to reheat an egg-based meal, do it gently rather than exposing it to excessive heat. The bigger picture is that food quality is influenced not just by what you eat, but by how you prepare, store, and reheat it. Healthy eating isn't built on fear, it's built on knowledge. By now you've probably noticed something important. None of the 4 foods we've discussed today are unhealthy. Rice, chicken, spinach, and eggs are all nutritious foods that millions of people enjoy every day. The lesson isn't to eliminate them from your diet. The lesson is to understand that proper food handling matters. Cooling food quickly, refrigerating it promptly, avoiding repeated reheating, and practicing good kitchen hygiene can help preserve both safety and quality. These may seem like small habits, but over the course of months and years, small habits often have the biggest impact. And before you leave, don't miss the final part of this video. I'll give you a simple, easy-to-follow checklist that you can start using today to make your leftovers safer, reduce food waste, and keep your meals as nutritious as possible. I'll also share one mistake I see families make every week, one that's incredibly easy to fix once you know what to look for. The most important thing I want you to remember after watching this video is this: don't be afraid of food, learn how to handle it wisely. The internet is full of headlines designed to shock you, but real health isn't built on fear. It's built on knowledge and the small choices you make every single day. No single meal will determine your future, just as no single leftover will suddenly damage your health. What truly matters is the pattern you follow over months and years. When you combine a balanced diet with proper food storage, safe cooking practices, regular physical activity, quality sleep, and routine medical checkups, you're giving your body the best chance to stay healthy for the long term. Let's quickly bring everything together. Rice is a healthy staple food, but it should be cooled quickly after cooking, refrigerated promptly, and reheated only once. Chicken remains one of the best sources of lean protein, but avoid repeatedly exposing it to very high temperatures. Gentle reheating's usually the better option. Spinach and other leafy greens are packed with valuable nutrients, and there's no reason to stop eating them. Simply prepare what you need whenever possible, refrigerate leftovers without delay, and consume them while they're still fresh. Eggs are one of nature's most nutritious foods, but they also taste and maintain their quality best when eaten fresh or enjoyed cold, after proper refrigeration, rather than being reheated again and again. Do you notice the pattern? The foods themselves aren't the problem. The way we store, cool, and repeatedly heat them is where many unnecessary mistakes happen. There's one habit I encourage every family to adopt, and it's surprisingly simple. Plan your meals more carefully. Many of us cook far more food than we actually need, which leads to leftovers sitting in the refrigerator for days and being reheated multiple times. Instead, divide meals into individual portions before storing them. That way, you're only reheating the serving you plan to eat instead of warming the entire container over and over again. Not only does this help maintain better food quality, but it also reduces waste and makes healthy eating much more convenient during a busy week. Another tip that many people overlook is paying attention to your senses. If a leftover meal has been sitting in the refrigerator for too long, has an unusual smell, strange texture, or you're simply unsure how long it's been there, don't take the risk. Food poisoning isn't worth saving one meal. Remember this simple rule: when in doubt, throw it out. It's always better to prepare another meal than to gamble with your health. Before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. Which of today's 4 foods surprised you the most? Was it rice, chicken, spinach, or eggs? Or is there another food you regularly reheat that you'd like me to cover in a future video? Let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, tell me your name, your age, and where you're watching from. I truly enjoy reading your comments, and many of my future videos are inspired by the questions you leave there. If you found today's video helpful, please take a moment to support the channel. Click the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Every week, I break down complex medical and nutrition research into simple, practical advice you can actually use in everyday life. My goal isn't to overwhelm you with scientific jargon, it's to help you make informed decisions that can improve your health one small step at a time. And before you leave, think of someone you care about. Maybe it's your parents, your husband or wife, a college student living away from home, a friend who meal preps every weekend, or someone who reheats leftovers almost every day. Share this video with them, not to scare them, but to give them reliable, evidence-based information they can use in their own kitchen. Sometimes one small piece of knowledge can change a habit that lasts a lifetime. I'll leave you with one final thought. Your future health isn't decided by one perfect meal or one imperfect meal. It's shaped by the choices you repeat every single day. Every healthy decision, no matter how small it seems today, is an investment in the person you'll become tomorrow. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. I truly appreciate your trust, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video. Until then, stay informed, stay healthy, and take good care of yourself. Medical disclaimer: this video is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Scientific understanding continues to evolve, and recommendations may change as new research becomes available. If you have a medical condition or specific dietary concerns, please consult your physician or a registered dietitian before making significant changes to your eating habits. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.